"Get out of my courtroom." 5 words. That was all it took. 5 words and a single sheet of paper, and a case the state had spent 19 months constructing, folded like wet cardboard. Judge Raymond Caldwell didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. When a federal judge tells prosecutors their entire case rests on a lie, volume stops mattering. The defendant, a man who had been sitting in that chair watching his life come apart piece by piece, looked up. For the first time in 18 months, he wasn't staring at a guilty verdict. He was staring at freedom. And the prosecutor, you could see the exact second the color left his face, because he knew what that paper showed. Witness 14 had been paid, and Judge Caldwell had the proof. So how does the prosecution's star witness end up on someone's payroll? One meeting, one wire transfer, one trail someone thought was buried deep enough to never be found. They were wrong. And here's what makes this reek. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't confusion. This was a calculated decision to pay a witness to testify against a man facing 25 to life. 25 years. Sit with that. A man was in court watching his entire future disappear, and the person meant to seal his fate was collecting checks. I've covered corruption, cover-ups, abuse of power, but this one made me angry in a way few cases do, because the system didn't uncover this. The system didn't question it. The system protected it until Judge Caldwell tore the mask off. Everyone keeps talking about the moment he dismissed the case with prejudice. That's coming. But first, you need to understand what the prosecution actually did. You need to see how far this goes. And trust me, it goes further than anyone expected. Here's what really happened. The moment that split the legal world in two. April 17th, 2024. Federal Courthouse, Northern District of California. The trial of Marcus Webb had been dragging on for 3 weeks. Racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy. The kind of case that builds careers. The prosecution had thrown everything at it, and their centerpiece was Witness 14, never named publicly, but supposedly present at the key meetings. The link between Webb and the conspiracy. Judge Raymond Caldwell, 22 years on the bench, former military prosecutor, known for running one of the tightest courtrooms in the district, had been watching closely. Quiet, precise, the kind of judge who writes in a leather notebook and misses nothing. Defense attorney Sarah Chen had been chipping away at Witness 14's credibility for days. Small contradictions, timeline gaps, nothing strong enough to break the case until discovery. Chen's team had filed a motion demanding full financial disclosure for all prosecution witnesses. Standard in federal court. The prosecution fought it. Objections, claims of national security, ongoing investigations, witness protection concerns. Judge Caldwell rejected everyone. His words in the order were simple. The government's reluctance to provide basic financial transparency raises concerns this court cannot ignore. So the prosecution partially complied. They handed over redacted documents meant to show Witness 14 had no financial connection to the case. But Chen's forensic accountant found what they missed. A wire transfer, $47,500, routed through a Delaware shell company, the registered agent, an LLC owned by the lead prosecutor's former law school roommate. The money landed in Witness 14's account 6 days before his first grand jury testimony. When Chen presented it in open court, the air went out of the room. The prosecutor objected, called it circumstantial, said the defense was inventing a conspiracy out of coincidence. Judge Caldwell asked one question: "Is this wire transfer real?" The prosecutor hesitated. 2 seconds. In a courtroom, 2 seconds feels endless. "Your Honor, we were not aware of—" "Answer the question. Is this transfer real?" "Yes, Your Honor." Caldwell raised his hand. He didn't need anything else. Court recessed for 48 hours. Everyone assumed he was weighing his words, preparing a narrow ruling, maybe excluding the witness, maybe ordering caution. They were wrong. When court resumed, Caldwell didn't sit. He stood, looked straight at the prosecution table, and delivered a ruling legal scholars will be citing for decades. The government's case rests on testimony from a witness who received substantial payment from entities connected to the prosecution. This court has reviewed the records. This court has reviewed the timing. This court finds that the integrity of this testimony has been fundamentally and irreparably compromised. Pause. Case dismissed with prejudice. With prejudice means the charges can never be brought again. Ever. Marcus Webb walked out free. The prosecution walked out in ruins. But what no one expected came next. As Caldwell left the bench, he issued another order. Sealed. Within hours, the FBI opened an internal investigation. Not into Webb, into the prosecution. The case didn't just collapse, it flipped. And when I say the fallout is still unfolding, that's not exaggeration. Because that $47,500 wasn't the only payment. There are more witnesses, more transfers, more cases. And Caldwell just opened a door no one wanted opened. If you're thinking, finally, someone is talking about what really happens in courtrooms, stay with this story. Because it only gets darker from here. Not everyone calls this justice. The U.S. Attorney's Office released a statement calling Caldwell's ruling a dangerous overreach that puts procedure over public safety. And when you hear their reasoning, you understand why some are uneasy. They argue Marcus Webb is not innocent. Surveillance, wiretaps, documents still exist. Witness 14 only supported evidence already established. One former prosecutor said the judge destroyed an entire case over a transaction that might have an innocent explanation. That now every defendant has a blueprint to claim corruption. Legal Twitter exploded, and even critics of prosecutorial abuse started asking an uncomfortable question. Was Caldwell right about the payment? Almost certainly. But was dismissing the whole case with prejudice the right remedy? Professor David Hines raised the issue of proportionality. If a witness is tainted, you exclude that witness. You don't necessarily torch the entire case. Caldwell's ruling may create consequences no one foresaw. So who's right? Did Caldwell deliver justice, or did he let anger override the merits? Is Webb innocent, or did a guilty man walk free because the government crossed a line? That's the question no one wants to answer. And the deeper you go, the messier it gets. This didn't start here. Years before warning signs surrounded this prosecution team, in 2019, they faced a sanctions motion for withholding exculpatory evidence. Denied. But the judge wrote that their conduct approached, but did not cross, misconduct. Legal language for you escaped this time. In 2021, another case collapsed after it was revealed an informant had been coached on testimony. Dismissed. In 2022, a paralegal with 11 years in the office filed a whistleblower complaint alleging outcome-driven evidence handling. It was investigated briefly, then shelved, every time the system looked away, until Caldwell said no more. Most judges would have excluded the witness or ordered a mistrial. Caldwell didn't. He ended it permanently and handed it to the FBI, and then came the moment that changed everything. The courtroom went silent, not quiet, silent. Caldwell stood at the bench, controlled, but something in his eyes said this wasn't routine. I have seen incompetence, I have seen mistakes, I have seen lapses in judgment. What I have not seen is a deliberate effort to purchase testimony and corrupt the pursuit of justice. He looked at the prosecution table. Case dismissed with prejudice. This matter is referred to the FBI's Public Integrity Section. 47 seconds. And Marcus Webb went from facing 25 years to walking out the front door. But watch the prosecutor. No argument. No appeal motion. He packed his briefcase and left without looking at anyone. His second chair was shaking. They knew something the room didn't. This wasn't emotional, it was calculated. People who study this for a living call it the most significant judicial strike against prosecutorial misconduct in 20 years. One former prosecutor said Caldwell declared war on a culture of impunity, that judges now have another tool: end the case entirely. Defense attorneys are already filing motions across the country. Every financial tie is now discoverable. A retired DOJ official admitted the truth. When conviction rates drive careers, you create incentives for behavior like this. Caldwell didn't expose one case, he exposed a system. This isn't just about Marcus Webb, it's about whether the justice system can police itself. And the answer looks shaky. Right now, defense attorneys are filing emergency motions. Every case with cooperating witnesses from this office is under review. If witness 14 was paid, who else was? Some motions will fail, some will uncover more. The bigger picture keeps me awake. If this precedent holds, everything changes. Witnesses face scrutiny. Payments must be disclosed. Trials look different. And the question no one wants to ask: how many people are in prison today because testimony was bought? Not technicalities. Lives destroyed by prosecutors who chose winning over truth. Then the prosecution made it worse. 24 hours later, they held a press conference, not to apologize, to attack Caldwell, saying financial support for witnesses is protection, not corruption. Social media erupted. Former prosecutors called it disastrous. Defense lawyers celebrated. Then something dangerous happened. Caldwell's home address was leaked online. Photos posted. U.S. Marshals increased security. His family was relocated. It's intimidation. You come after us, we come after you. They condemned the leak, but still haven't admitted paying. Witness 14 was wrong. Washington is silent. No statement from the Attorney General. No word from professional responsibility. Just silence and security details. This isn't ending. It's escalating. Where did the money come from? Why fight so hard to keep records sealed? Why not settle quietly? Sources say the FBI investigation has expanded, subpoenas issued, witnesses interviewed, and the forensic accountant who found the transfer, she's been visited by federal agents asking about her own finances. They're not just defending themselves, they're pushing back. Judge Caldwell reportedly expects retaliation. He says he's ready. Powerful people don't retreat gracefully. When this breaks, we'll see how far they'll go. Right now, Marcus Webb is free, considering civil lawsuits. 8 figures discussed. The lead prosecutor is on administrative leave. His second chair resigned. 2 other cases have delayed sentencing. 3 inmates filed motions citing Caldwell. 1 claims he has proof of similar payments. 3 FBI agents are assigned full-time. That means they expect something. The clock is running. The prosecution's defiance only makes sense if they believe they'll survive this, that the system will protect them. Maybe they're right. Maybe this fades away. But cases like this never end clean. Someone is scared, and scared people make mistakes. I don't know what the FBI will find. I don't know who else is involved. I don't know if this is the tip of an iceberg or the whole thing. But I know this. Whatever comes next will be bigger than anyone expects. And something is about to. Make sure to like, comment, share, and must subscribe to our channel.